Greetings and welcome to windy and cold Long Island, New York. This is Greg. Our focus today is somewhat of an update on the Semi from several angles. I think this is an important update given the fact that there's a lot of challenges for Tesla across a number of issues that are going to affect the stock price and company going forward. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. I want to note behind me, you can see some trees there, and beyond that is the Long Island Sound. So the whole environment of Long Island on the north portion is beautiful, and I want to say water influenced. Today's show, my goal was usually to do a fairly long piece that covers one topic, but in this case, we have some more brief 4 segments, primarily covering what's going on with the Semi. As you know, there's a difficulty right now, which is that they have stopped production of the Cybertruck because of panels falling off. So not only do we have Cybertrucks that are backlogged and in storage right now, and Founder Series that didn't sell, but now we've shut down production because of defects in the glue associated with keeping the panels on the trucks. And so obviously those trucks are being fixed, and then there obviously is going to have to be some recalls to address that issue as well. So what I wanted to cover today is, I believe, perhaps the next most important vehicle from Tesla that will arrive is the Semi. Now, what's amazing to me is that there are a number of ways that the Semi arrives that I want to say are fairly unusual. And obviously we have inbound jet traffic to JFK or LaGuardia that's popping by. Thank you. So the first thing I wanted to review is a couple of elements of what's going on with the response by Daimler Freightliner to the power of the Tesla Semi to deliver, range, etc., and cargo that the eCascadia and other Daimler products around the world are not able to do. As you know, Daimler-Benz Trucks, separate company from Daimler-Benz the cars, is now in a mode of trying to battle back against Tesla. And there are some really interesting questions that have been popping up. One of the biggest questions, and I want to go through a few of those. The first one is, as you know, there's a company called BYD. BYD did a move where they've been assembling electric trucks. They now have 100 of them on the road here in the US, and they're one of the providers of electric trucks in the California EV program, where California pretty much pays for almost the whole truck, and then will subsidize going forward to help fleets transition to zero-emission vehicles. So there was an interesting issue that popped up about 5 years ago, which is that there's a company called Loblaws, which is based in the Toronto area, but it's a grocery chain that runs the entire length of Canada. So what happened is that BYD, after Tesla delayed by a couple of years their new Semi, then made the comment, don't worry about it, we can solve that. So they entered into an agreement with Loblaws where not only would BYD provide electric vehicles to move goods to and from distribution warehouses into the grocery stores, they also signed to now start assembling trucks in Toronto as a way to service the fleet that they would build for Loblaws. Well, as you know, what happened with that was that the 125-mile range full Class 8 trucks that were provided by BYD in the cold weather of Toronto could not deliver on that promise. So the net range from those vehicles was so low that the program was ended, and Loblaws decided that because they were already a Freightliner customer, that they would simply use something called the eCascadia from Freightliner instead. So what then happened was that eCascadias were then sort of put in service on behalf of Loblaws in the greater Vancouver area. Now, you might ask the question, wait a second, yes, there was a failure by BYD in Toronto, a much colder average temperature during the year than Vancouver. Why is Freightliner / Daimler Trucks delivering trucks to Vancouver? And the answer is, it can be as much as 50% of your range given up as those battery packs heat themselves. So if you're starting with the 250-ish range, 200 to 250-ish range for an eCascadia, how are you going to justify, now your truck's down to 125 or less, and then you have to get to and from the stores to deliver those goods? So we're now in an interesting position, and the interesting position is Daimler has come up with a technique to hold off the success of the Tesla Semi. The first part of it was to install charging facilities that are kind of pricey, number one. Then their next process was to aggressively choose where the fight was going to be. So in this case, with Loblaws, they chose sort of the warmest portion of the country, which is the greater Vancouver area. The next thing they've done is, in the United States, they've targeted, even though they're doing manufacturing in the Oregon, Portland area, they're actually delivering those vehicles, I want to say in decent numbers, into the greater Los Angeles area. There's many reasons to do so. The biggest one, though, is the average temperatures in Los Angeles are somewhere around 65 degrees every day, which is perfect because those battery packs like to operate between 20 and 80 degrees. And now you can maximize your range and minimize the potential for running out of range as you're operating in the greater Los Angeles area. I was also intrigued because one of the things that the folks at Daimler Trucks did was, even though they're based in Stuttgart, Germany, as they introduced their trucks, and even the smaller version, the Class 7 trucks, all that testing was being done in warmer countries, in Portugal, Lisbon, Portugal, to be specific. So we now ended up with a position where there's an open question that's hanging over Tesla, which is, usually companies get killed if they miss their window of time to market. So if you don't deliver your product to market fast enough, you'll have competitors enter, consume the market, and now consumers have no reason to switch to you once you do arrive. So the next sort of answer thing that popped up is that obviously the competitors to Tesla haven't shown up, and not only have they not shown up, but we have been showing you pictures and videos of the Tesla Semi moving through challenging sort of test situations in the Sierra Mountains. That's dealing with ice, snow, etc. If you look around the globe, half of the operating conditions in the major wealthy countries, they have decent sized winters, and those winters demand those battery packs and trucks can operate year round and be effective. And so we're not seeing the eCascadia, MAN, and some of the other smaller competitors, Volvo, that are out there. They're also trying to do the same plan, which is operate in temperature-controlled areas that optimize batteries, and therefore they can be competitive there, and they're staying away from places like mountains with a lot of snow that would consume most of the battery packs for those packs that don't have the longer range. The one other element that I wanted to introduce of the Tesla Semi that's kind of going on is that Yeah, um, right now there are a lot of countries that really want to get rid of the carbon footprint created by large trucks. So I believe that the Tesla Semi is a godsend in other ways for both the customer and for Tesla. In particular, those customers are desperate because as we move up to large loads, 80,000 pounds, for example, that the Tesla Semi is capable of, with all the parameters of operation, the reduction in pollution that they represent is enough of a benefit to have sort of Elon and Tesla's activities overlooked. Whereas in the car business, there are many competitors that offer 50, 60% of what Tesla does. And if consumers want to go that route, they can go hybrid or with a lesser competitor to Tesla. And let's remember that Tesla is now offering its charging facilities to other manufacturers, so that competitive advantage is no longer enjoyed by Tesla in a lot of areas where it does a lot of work. So the last thing I wanted to review today is simply the potential impact of the Tesla Semi. If Tesla actually, and Elon actually chose to spin off the Semi, the size of demand for that would allow it to provide at least $100 billion and possibly $150 billion in market cap to Tesla, therefore increasing its stock price. So do not be surprised as we start seeing large numbers of Tesla Semis arriving as we close out this year, because the small, older factory will start producing more and delivering to customers, and the brand new factory will be delivering at scale. One of the other little notes on the Semi that's going on right now is that the state of California released a list and a price sheet on all the electric Semi, and I want to say zero emission because they included other types of zero emissions like hydrogen fuel cells. But it was also interesting to note that there was order availability for every other Semi except for the Tesla Semi. Volvo, BYD, eCascadia, all have been offered. Tesla's participating in the program via certain partners. The largest one, as you know, is Pepsi, but there are other partners in that program that are getting Tesla vehicles, but it's not broadly available for purchase. So I really think this speaks to the size of the backlog there is out there for Tesla. I also think that it points to the fact that with unlimited demand and seeing that demand and seeing those delivery of numbers, do not be surprised if forward-looking analysts start budgeting those numbers, and we could see a little bit of a bump in the stock price driven by the scale production and delivery of these trucks. So this concludes our efforts today to just do a brief introduction of the fact that the Tesla Semi is coming in scale, and because there's no other solution, and 6% of the trucks represent 25% of the pollution, there are a lot of entities waiting for this and will overlook other challenges that consumers may be having with Tesla and Elon. A final note, we wanted to do our quick health tip for today. Don't forget your 25 leg lifts a day and a 20-minute walk at least. I wanted to add one thing to your schedule as you're getting older, and that is to do sort of stand on one leg for 3 or 4 minutes per leg per day. There is actually a move that you can do from a yoga stance where you stand on one leg, raise the other one up, and sort of put it around where your knee is. And the reason for that is that balance. As you age, there are ways to help improve your balance, which helps to avoid other issues popping up. I want to thank you for taking time out to spend time with us today. Have a great day from chilly Long Island, and we look forward to your comments on all of this. And I would say let's go Semi, because it'd be nice to see you swoop in and make a huge difference for Tesla and all consumers that would like to see it do well.
Tschüss, au revoir, Lehitro, Hodafest, Rasijini Hama. In Jamaica, we say enough respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.